Good evening, Lifeline. Thank you for joining our Tuesday night devotion. It's an honor and a privilege to share with you guys tonight. I first want to thank Pastor Reggie and Pastor London for giving me this opportunity to share around the Word. So, tonight we're going to talk about the scenic route. I know you're probably wondering, like, what is the scenic route, right? So, that was my fancy term for the process. Many times, that's going through this walk of salvation, we get to a point where God wants to deal with us, right? He put us before Him. And with that, we travel on a good road. We're starting our walk, we're in our walk. And all of a sudden, we're cruising along. Okay, we worshiping, we doing these different things, and all of a sudden, we get to a place where we hit a detour. And sometimes, on our first reaction to the detour, we are frustrated. Why are you veering me off over to here? It's because he has need of you, and some areas he needs to develop, or he wants to expand, or he wants to um, bring you to a new revelation of. And a lot of times we kind of shy back from that because sometimes God he would definitely put you in front of you, and sometimes we're not ready to take that route. So let's talk about it, right? So I remember coming to Lifeline. The first Sunday I was there, the first message I heard coming in the door was, I will hit my target this year. I was just coming off basically a time where I was in a church, very active in a church, living in the South, was married at the time, went through a huge divorce where I was just all over the place. I was upset. I was mad because I felt like, God, I did it right. I did it right. I did it right. So how come this didn't work? I was upset. I was frustrated. I was hurt. I was mad. I was mad at myself. I was mad at God. I was mad at his church people because I felt like, hey, y'all prophesying to paint off the wall, but y'all couldn't tell me this was going to happen. Oh God, you deal with me, but you couldn't tell me this is what's going to happen, right? So I went through a period where my trust in God was just like zero. Like I didn't trust myself, I didn't trust God, and I didn't trust anybody really pretty much around me. Some people that I knew growing up, yeah, that was already established, but anybody knew I was side eyeing everybody. So that carried over. But I stepped away from church for a minute because I was like, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to do nothing. I just step away. But my friend reached out and was like, hey, try Lifeline. I came to Lifeline. The first message I came in, I was hit my target this year. Of course, everybody know when you new to Lifeline, like the first 3 months, you're going to cry the entire time being there. Like that worship just melts everything away. And then, hey, you just stuck. And I was stuck because I was just like, I'm mad at you, but you pulling me, you pulling me. So I began to still journey through this, and Lifeline starting off. So I was like, I'm gonna be in the back, I'm gonna be in the cut. I don't want to do too many different things. I'm here because I need to get me together. Even in the process of that, he continuously was tugging. I said, all right. I said, because last time I gave you a yes, and all hell broke loose. So right now I'm gonna give you a I'll see. Gave you a strong I'll see. Okay. So even with that, I was just like, wow, I'll see. But he kept pulling, he kept pulling, he kept pulling. It got to a place where I got tired of being in this particular situation. I got tired of feeling and carrying this hurt, this deep rooted hurt. And it was like it was festering in every area of my life. I was cool with other people, but something you may say, somebody may do, it'll trigger it and it'll come back up. Yeah, I didn't got in the healing lines. I didn't pray. I didn't be fasting. I was doing all of this because I was like, I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of this. I want to get rid of it. But then when it got to the point where I was just sitting there and I was like, okay, God, because I know basically to get through this process, I got to tell you yes, and I have to walk it out. In the process of walking that out, I began to say, well, God, what do you want me to do? Because I'm tired of going in this. I keep going in the same circle. I must be crazy because I'm expecting something to happen differently than what is going to happen. But I already know it's going to still stay the same because I'm not going about it his way. So I began at the time the teaching was submit to the lordship of Jesus, and I would just be praying like, okay, I got to submit to the lordship. I had much homework because at that time we was having like so many Bible verses. I mean, Pastor was just smacking me all up, and then I was just sitting in church like I'd be on production team like, oh, he talking to me again. I got homework to do when I go home. But it was so important for me to go through that. Even when I was frustrated, I was mad frustrated because I was like, how long is this going to last? Right. So I was in service one time and Pastor said this one phrase in church. And that phrase took me all the way to the end of this journey. And that phrase was because I don't remember nothing else he said in service. I don't even remember nothing else but that one phrase. Can you trust God past your time? That smacked me all over the place, right? I was just like, oh my God. Can I trust God past my time? And I couldn't even answer because deep down inside, I knew I was dealing with trust issues with him, right? So inside, I was just sitting up there. I was like, nah, I can't because I said yes to him before. He disappointed me. He made me mad. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say because I felt like, hey, I'm his favorite. I'm doing it right. And here I am dealing with this thing inside of me that I couldn't shake because I felt justified in my feelings. I felt justified in that hurt. I felt justified in carrying it because it was my crutch at that time. It became the crutch. It became my arms and my weight. Like, okay, I'm going to put myself in this little box and here I am. I'm safe. I don't have to let people in if I don't want to. You know, you can assume what you want to, but you don't know me. And I'm in this box and I'm safe. But he didn't want me to stay in that box. And I'm encouraging you, he don't want you to stay in that box too. Because the thing is, he wants us to evolve, us to constantly grow, constantly maturing in him. So that comes with going through the process, right? Going the scenic route. I'm going to say the scenic route because the process was too heavy for me. Because I was like, nope, I can't do the process no more. The process is just too much sometimes, right? So I'm just reminded, I know I'm probably talking all over the place, but I hope you're really getting it. But getting back into the thing on this journey, right? Taking this route. Um, he began to highlight different things to me. And this is where it comes with just really submitting to the process. The first time in submitting to the process, I'll never forget. I was in a balcony. Pastor, I don't know, the service was real hot. Pastor came up there. And at that time, because I was like, God, I got to get this out. I got to get this out. And I was dealing with low self-esteem. I was dealing with rejection. I was dealing with these different things that came along with that divorce. I was just like, I just had a whole lot. I was a mess. Okay. And I was in the balcony and Pastor came up and out of nowhere just came up the stairs, right? And stood in front of me. And he said, the Lord has heard, seen your tears. And the best is coming to your house. Immediately, I felt my heart open up. Tears ran down my face. So even when I got home, the tears kept coming. Because at that time, I didn't even understand that the eyes of my heart was open at that time. Because there I closed it off. At that time, it opened. Because I was just holding on to that thing that hurt. But he cracked that door open. And after that, I was intentional in the pursuit of my healing. How did that come? Hey, guess what? I started writing the word on cue cards. I started putting it everywhere in the house. I mean, the bathroom, I was writing in lipstick on the mirror. I was just putting all these different things on there because I wanted the word to just be around me because I couldn't trust myself. And at that time, when you only could get to a point where you know you can't even trust yourself, because I was mad at myself because I felt like I made a bad decision. I felt like I'm so smart. How did I miss that? How did I not see that? And I was upset with myself. I couldn't trust myself, and then I couldn't trust God because I felt like, hey, I was doing everything right. And how you let this happen to your girl, right? But even in that, I was sitting and I was like, God, I want to be healed completely. I don't want to phony kick it with you and or get up in church and be yeah, because I'm putting on a show for somebody else to say that I'm good and I wasn't good. I got tired of that coming to church and it was just a show. I wanted it to be real. I wanted to, when I raise my hand, I feel him. I wanted when I open up my mouth, I feel something moving in me. So I was like, I can't even phony kick it with you like that. I just can't, because right now I'm over the blah and everything else. I'm over people talking. I don't even want to be around a whole bunch of conversation, because right now at this moment I'm intentionally trying to be healed. So your mess you got, yo kick it. I didn't even care. I used to affectionately laugh with Brina, Elder Brina, and tell her, girl, I'm a D-lister. And I don't even know if she even knew the extent of how I was feeling, because at that time I was on the path of healing. So I didn't care that people really didn't invite me out to come and have tea with them or brunch with them, celebrate the birthdays. It was to the point where I needed something so much more from God than kicking it and being in the end. I'd rather be a D-lister right now. Let me fade to the back at this moment, because it was like I needed something so much more than a new friend, a new BFF. Hey, girl. I needed something more than that. I needed my heart to be completely healed. And at that time, it was more important than anything else, because again, I couldn't trust myself. So I began to inundate myself in serving. I began to inundate. Everybody was like, girl, you always at church. You always at church. Because guess what, girl? I couldn't trust Ayana to be by herself too long. Because Ayana would abort the mission, be like, I'm out. Peace out. What's going on in these streets? Okay. So the thing is, I wanted to stay connected. I wanted to stay plugged in. I wanted to be accountable to what my process that I was going through. So with that, I had to cut it. I got to go to church. I remember one time I was sitting up there and I was feeling some kind of way. That demon of depression was trying to get me hard. I'm talking about I was sitting in my apartment. I was sitting there and I was like, Lord, my phone started ringing. Here comes Jim. Hey, what's going on? I ain't talked to you in a minute. What you doing tonight? I was sitting up there. I was like, oh no. I'm not finna go in this circle. Oh, I'm not. I was so glad Sharetta called me and was like, girl, we going to sing tonight at this church. I said, I'm going. I ain't a part of the choir. I ain't part of the music and arts, but I'm going tonight, because I actively had to go after what was present for me. And that was my healing. So anyway, I had to go. I mean, running to it, because I didn't want to be in the same cycle. So when you get tired of going in that same cycle, you will begin to go and do what you need to do. So even on the route, he began to show me different things, because the scenic route, yeah, you feeling like I'm wasting a lot of time. And I felt like that sometimes. I was like, God, look, this is taking too long. Like, you the instant God, the miraculous God. It comes straight away immediately. Right now, I'm coming. You coming through. Why am I going through this journey so long? That's because that thing was so deep. He had to work that thing out of me. And I mean, literally out of me, because I had to just sit there and be like, it's me. It ain't nobody else around me. It ain't nothing somebody else did to me. I had to put myself out there. I had to put myself on the altar. I had to put me before God. And then guess what? On a route, guess where he takes you sometimes? He takes you on these routes and you looking like, oh, that's familiar. That look familiar. But then you go to some spots and you be like, let me lock my door. That looks real suspect. Jim coming too close to my car. Wait, what's going on here? Why did this place look lack of resources, abandoned, deserted, dirty, just decrepit? It don't look like any life is there. He began to take me on that journey of my heart at that time, because that's where I was at. And then he began to tell me, yeah, I'll create a new thing in you. Because even if you go down the road, you will see a new development that occurs. See, this old development, like you go through some neighborhoods you grow up in, right? You be looking like, oh, that was Buddy Bears was right there. Buddy Bears was there. I remember Buddy Bears, but it looked completely different because Buddy Bears is not there anymore. It's a whole new development. You're looking up and like, oh my God, it's a Whole Foods right here. I never thought they would switch it out and put Whole Foods there. But he began to say, yeah, I'll till that same soil that you felt was dead. And I'll turn it over and I'll turn it over. And because you planted the word in me and you going, I'll recreate. I'll do it. I'm the creative God. I'll do new things in you. You won't even come out looking the same. You won't have no residue of that very thing. I remember in a verse, well, a couple of verses in Jeremiah 18:4, when God was telling Jeremiah basically, yeah, go to the potter's house. And in the potter's house, basically, a lot of times you get on the wheel, right? That wheel, because he's molding you, right? So one of the scriptures basically was saying, hey, go there. Yeah. He began to form. And yeah, he formed something that was very good, but then all of a sudden it became flawed. And that sometimes it comes from violations. It comes from people mistreating you, things you didn't ask for, things you felt like, hey, I didn't do nothing. I don't even know why that happened to me. You violated my trust. You came in and you betrayed me. You did these things to me. And even on that, he looking like, no, I created you to be this way, fearfully and wonderfully made, but that flaw happened. That thing came in and it broke you. But then he said, I will crush it. I will mash all this out. And I'm going to put you back on that wheel and I'm going to begin to form you. Yeah, he squeezes you. And that's because of the crushing. I need to break you. And the only way that breaking comes is by you opening up your mouth and by you acknowledging where you are. It wasn't until my deliverance, until I opened up my mouth literally and say, God, I'm broken. I am mad. I am disappointed. I felt like you had me, but you didn't. I don't even know what happened. Because that's the intimate part that you receive when you on that process. See, a lot of people want to abort the process, but there's so many benefits to the process. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's hard because you're dealing with you. He's putting you in front of you. And it's hard to look in the mirror sometimes and be okay with what you see back because you know what's inside of you. If nobody knows, you know. And sometimes it's ugly. Sometimes it don't even, and some of the things you don't even put there. It happened to you, and it was an ugly situation. And it formed you into something else that he didn't even create. That it caused your vessel to be flawed. But in order for us to be the vessel of honor, we have to go through that process. And a lot of times it's going through that fire that solidifies us, right? So with the fire comes, takes out all those impurities. It causes those things to come up and out, right? So even with that on the scenic route, I began to ask God to highlight who's for me, who's against me. You better be ready for him to tell you that, because that ain't no joke. You be looking like, that's my good girlfriend for 20 years. He began to show you. But you better be ready for that. You be looking up and you be saying, God, show me, make me aware of you around me. Because he will. Yield to him. He will show you. He'll make you so aware of the things around you. He will show you basically you. He'll show you things to come. He'll be like, come on, daughter, you got it. Come on, son, you got it. Push through, because what I'm trying to get out of you is a relationship. Yeah, he know the plans he has for you. They're good. They're of a good in a future. But guess what? Every round that you go through, every process you go through, it's an expected end to that. Because what I want from you is relationship at the end of it. As I began to go, I began to say, because it's nobody else around me. Because as they say in the word, narrow is the way, right? So it comes from being so much around everybody. And he'll take you on this journey with just you and him, because it ain't nobody else but you and him. Can't nobody else get the glory. She can't say, oh girl, I told her that. No, it's a personal time with you and him, because what he wants is relationship. He wants the intimacy. Because in that he can create strategies and give you strategies to handle. You will gain wisdom during the process. How about that? Because once you learn something, you'll redeem the time when you come out of it, because you don't got time to waste on nothing. Because he didn't showed you. You done learned that. I'm so glad that Pastor and them are so transparent when they talk about finance, because that's something that no one can take from them, because they know the process they went through and they know how God helped them to go through that process to where they're at now. That's how they're able to effectively teach us with it, right? So with that, you become the sign, you become the wonder, you become the miracle, because he does a new thing in you, right? So when people look at you, you can tell them like, baby, this would happen to me. I was violated. I was this happened to me. And they looking at you like, girl, you don't even look like that. He said, yeah, because the very thing you went through, you won't even come out smelling like you, period. You don't even come out looking like, oh, you just been crushed and you've been mauled over. People that drug you from pillar to post and from Peter to Paul and all down the street and back. You don't even look like it, because I did a new thing in you through that process, through that crushing, because the anointing comes from the crushing. The anointing comes sometimes out of the ugly places. The anointing comes from the betrayal. The anointing comes through these things. But a lot of times people want to abort. I know I listen, I done aborted the mission. I don't know how many times. I ain't gonna lie. I would sit up there and say, yeah, I ain't doing that. No. Hey, give it to somebody else. I'm good. Now I sit here and look, raise my hand, and come on and do what I need to do. But he has much need for you, and he has so much more for you. I'm even reminded, even going through that process, period, how I began to get so in tune. Like I was telling him, like, Lord, I say yes to you. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's hard, because when you open your mouth and you tell him yes, you give him permission to come in, right? So when you admit, hey, this is what's going on with me, I'm broken. A lot of people don't know my business. A lot of people don't know what's going on. I give them this fake face. Hey, this is good, but I'm broken on the inside. It's not until you open up your mouth and acknowledge, like, hey, God, I'm broken. No one can take from me that I know that he can heal a broken heart, because I know that. Because after I was done with the process, it was tested. And I sat there, oh my God, in amazement. But even before I got to that point, I was driving down Harlem. I was going to work, and I was sitting there. And I drive this route all the time. Yeah, here, mad construction. I know they have construction. I drive it every day, all day, back and forth. Every street, it seemed like in Chicago, was towed up at this time. And I was real upset about it, because I felt like, I don't care what time I leave, it's always traffic. But even in that, he began to highlight different things on this path. That's why it's so important to ask him to make me aware of you being around. I'm naturally a dreamer. I dream. That's how he deal with me. I have visions and I dream. So if I lay down and I have a dream and I can wake up and I can spit it like this, I know it's coming to pass, something that's happening, and I'm watching for it to happen. Because I knew it since I was a little girl. That's how he always communicated with me. So when it came to it, I was looking. He used those very same things. I'm driving. He's showing me, oh, this road is towed up. But they resurfacing. I'm going to dig it up, move it out, and I'm going to resurface it. When you come over, it's going to be smooth sailing over this road once he's done with the construction, right? So we ride, I'm riding, and I'm looking, I'm on Grantham across the tracks. And I'm sitting here. All of a sudden, he highlighted on there to me this one sign. It said detour ends. That thing tore me up so bad. I was over on the road driving. Tears just lapped my face. Tears lapped. I was praying. I was like, oh God, oh God, oh God. I feel like Tammy Faye Baker when I get to work. Oh Lord, I'm glad I got my maker with me, because he just ministered that thing to me. Like, yes, you went through all this construction, but yet I done took you all the way around trying to get to work, trying to get to this next destination. And now the detour ends because you went through the process. You stayed on the road. You didn't detour off and try to do it your way because you think like, I know a better way. I got good timing. I'm gonna do it this way. Have I did that in the process? Yeah, I did, and came right back on to the same old spot. Because I can't go nowhere because construction is everywhere. Construction is everywhere. He'll bring you right on back because I got need for you and I need you to deal with this very thing. It's your heart. I need you to deal with it. The very heart was hardened. And I'm going to soften it. I'm going to make it a heart of flesh. I'm going to soften that thing back up. So all I can do is tell you to stay on the road. Stay focused. It don't matter what everybody else is saying and doing. You feel like you're missing out. Because I'm telling you, when you come out and when he launch you and when he push you and thrust you, honey, I'm telling you, it's going to be so much better than you going to that little tea party. You going to kick it with your friends and your homies or being out. It's going to be so much better than that. Because it's a peace that you're going to have. It's a confidence you're going to have. It's an assurance that you're going to have. Because the thing is, you got relationship with him because he walked you through it. Not nobody else. He walked you through it. He walked you hand by hand. He's seen you crying. He's seen you all doing all these things, making your efforts, walking it out, crying it out, dragging it out. Sometimes I would sit there and I'm like, look, I would tell Sherrod, I'd be saying, girl, I'm so tired of this process. I'd be glad when it's over with. But I'm going to tell you, after that sign said detour ends, shortly thereafter, and this is so crazy, y'all, because I think I was being petty. And he showed me in my pettiness that he was real, right? I called my ex-husband on would have been my 15th wedding anniversary, right? And I said, it's a beautiful day out here today. I was being real petty, y'all. I was being so petty. It's a beautiful day out here. We would have been married for 15 years. And I'm hee-hee-ha-haing about it, right? He apologized. And when I tell you, I know he will mend it, that it ain't even nothing happened. Because before I even gave testimony, like on when the women had on site, I wanted to drag them, right? On site, snatch them because I was still mad, right? But God did that thing so much down on the inside of me. Even when he was talking, I didn't feel nothing. I didn't have no residues, no nothing. I was so shocked that I felt like that. I'm telling you, when I got off work, I went straight to Sharetta's house. She opened up the door. I came in. I said, girl, he did it. She said, what did he do? I said, girl, he did it. I said, he healed me. See, when he do something for you and it's only you know that he can do, you will testify about it. You giving the word out. Look, God did that thing. It was nothing but God. Because anybody that know me, Ayana Shaw, know how I felt about that whole situation and knew where I was at with that. And for me to come and tell you, baby, that he healed me, he removed every ounce of that thing, every ounce of that hurt, every ounce of that deception, every ounce of that. He removed it from the core of my heart. And it ain't no residue. And now I call him today and say, hey, how you doing? And I don't have nothing. Complete healing. He came, he healed the brokenhearted, and he set the captives free. But you got to be intentional. You got to stay the course. You got to go on and go through that process. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it because, baby, this thing is wounding up, and you need to be what he wants you to be, and you need to be who he called you to be. Okay? So, I think that's going to be my time. But I hope this message came to bless you. I hope that you can glean from it. You know, I hope I helped somebody tonight. God is awesome. And I know that he can do anything but fail. And one thing that I can tell you that he was trusting him because I began to trust him. I transferred my trust to him. And the only way that I can explain it, only way I can express a changed life is by living an exchanged life, if that makes sense. It wasn't until I exchanged my will for his will. It wasn't until I exchanged that hurt and gave it to him and let him carry that. It wasn't until I made an exchange with him that I experienced change. So the only thing I can encourage you to do, walk it out, stay focused. God got you. Everybody's process is different. I say journey it out. I mean, work it, walk it, do all of that. And I pray that God will heal you within every area that He wants to do. I pray that whatever how this message may hit you, or this message may penetrate you, I pray that it goes into good ground, and that it will begin to reproduce what He wants you to do. It could be a wake up call to say, hey, stop aborting the road. Get back on that road. It may be, hey, come on, tighten it up. You got to go ahead and go through, dig deep, because that thing took me 12 years to get to a place of freedom. And no, you looking at, oh my God, it may take that long. Oh, I ain't gonna do it. That was my process. That's not yours. You know what I mean? But it's gone. Exactly. It's gone. But it took me, because at first I held it. I held it. That's probably why it took so long, because I held it, because I felt justified in it. But God can do that very thing. And He gonna keep putting it in front of you until you go ahead and give it to Him. He gonna keep pulling and tugging at that one thing until you give it to Him, and you go through the process and you face the ugly. You look at it. You deal with it. Some people used to always make fun and talk about, oh, get in the mirror, and you a big person, get in there, shake yourself, because you need to love every part of you. He formed you. He made you. And sometimes you got to sit there and you got to walk the thing out. You got to go ahead and face it. God, I'm broken in this area. I didn't deserve that. I felt disappointed. Like I told God, I felt disappointed. I felt like you've left me. You failed me. And I know you say you never fail. That's my whole conversation with Him. But you have to give it to Him. And what He wants you to do is open your mouth and communicate. He wants relationship with you. Can you trust me in this area? Can you trust me past your natural time? I had to trust Him past my natural, because it took me 12 years to get to that point. Because I got tired. I got tired of going around that same bush. And then until you get tired. Because people can talk to you till the paint fall off. They can preach to you till the paint fall off. It's until you get tired of going through that same thing is when you're going to experience the change. When you want to exchange your will for His will. When you want to exchange your way for His way. When you want to exchange your thoughts for His thoughts. When you want to see yourself the way He sees you, and that's healed and whole and complete. So that's my time, guys. I'll tell you, meet us. Hallelujah. On Wednesday at 7 p.m. for corporate prayer, 7:30 for encounter nights. Meet us Friday at 7 a.m. for corporate prayer, and back on Sunday for our Sunday service. Be blessed. Have a great and amazing night. Good night.